Hi, everybody. Welcome to religious trauma in childhood. It's a pretty deep convo going on here. Join me as I walk and talk. I'm planning to do an entire series just kind of recounting my memories from childhood. It's both for you, for developing a deeper understanding of what people go through in these situations, like globally, like my cult, it's not the only cult. We kind of see that now, right? So like 30 years ago almost, when I was doing my bachelor's thesis on this very topic, I thought about going on to my PhD in it, but I thought, cults, it's not really where I want to live in that paradigm, in that arena. Well, here's a trail. I'm going to stick to this one. And so I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't. I had a nice career in something else, and it was much more healing. So that's what I needed. But now I've been in this funk, for all winter. And yeah, it's, it was cold and nasty, and I don't get my walks in, and going to the gym becomes it takes the back seat, unfortunately. But this is my healing, and I hope you find some too. But this is what I have to do for me. So I wanted to visit Spare the Rod, Spoil the Child, which was oh so apparent in the kingdom halls. The ladies' bathrooms were always bigger than the men's, because women take care of the kids, men don't, right? And women doled out the punishment to the kids many times. In the meetings, you'd hear screams coming from the ladies' room, children screaming. Because, they weren't sitting perfectly still. They weren't being obedient robots. My parents bought into that, which wasn't hard, given their childhoods, which I recounted in my very first video on this channel, how my parents were converted into a cult. Pretty dark video, I must say. First one out of the gate. But at least I got it out there. So, they were converted. Neither of them were raised in it. But what the cult did was it affirmed that they were raising their children properly in their minds. It affirmed that physical abuse was fine, because spare the rod, spoil the child. It's affirming when you hear it coming from a sweet German couple reading you the Bible. Spare the rod, spoil the child, right? It's affirming. So what it enabled my parents to do by their very conversion into this cult was harden their belief systems that were already in place. It allowed them to live in a fantasy world of, we're going to obey Jehovah and then we're going to live forever on a paradise earth after Armageddon. And after we watch all of our friends or neighbors who aren't in the cult be destroyed by Jehovah, and we'll be able to, clean up the earth. And after a 1,000-year reign of Jesus Christ, we will inherit the earth. Like, we're going to own it. We're going to own the earth. After we have to pass the test. We have to pass the test of 1,000 years without a sin. Pretty easy, huh? Going 1,000 years without a sin. Like, come on. Who goes for this? What are the tactics that they use? Well, similar to what we've seen these days. And this is a pro-democracy channel. The patriarchy is freaking out right now. That's why we're seeing everything happening the way it is. Patriarchy can kiss my lily white bang. All right? So, the cult justified. Oh, look at that. I'm gonna try and show you this. There's a little turtle on a log. If I can aim it right. I hope you got to see the turtle butt. I had a coyote butt in my last video. And I have 3 cat butts at home. Yeah, so the cult felt comfortable to my family, my parents anyway, because it gave them permission to continue the abuse to their children without having to feel guilty about it, without having to apologize. The only thing my father ever apologized to me for, and I do have so much love for my parents, even though all of it, I see them as hurt children. And, what they did was they perpetuated that instead of examining it and breaking away from it. So they were each really intelligent people. My father was the extrovert. My mother, much more an introvert. I think she had agoraphobia, actually, because the one and only job that she ever took outside the home. She quit in a matter of like a day or two. She took a job selling shoes at a department store. And, I have to hand it to her for at least trying. And it saddened me even then. I was in maybe junior high when she took the job. She just couldn't handle it. She couldn't handle being out among so many worldly people. And she was afraid of people anyway, with good reason. They hadn't been good to her. So she liked going in service because she was in control in a way. Like, she had her little sermon. She knew what to say. They tell you how to rebut all the objections. They actually teach that. When I was going, in my youth, it was Thursday nights, and one of those hours was devoted to book study preparation. So we would have mock book studies up on the stage, and then one of the elders would have charge of the meeting and give them, we've got ducks now. They would give them pointers on what they could have done better, what they could have said, what scriptures they could have quoted, and you would get graded and you would get points. They had this point system. Even for field service, you had to acquire like 10 points a month or something, or 10 hours a month of field service in order to not be considered weak in the truth. So that's one thing that cults do. They have little coin phrases. Weak in the truth. One of, I didn't want to say it, one of the cult's name. And even to this day, like, I see people who are out of the religion, and they even still say, I used to be one of blankety blank blank. Yeah. And it really bothers me. I just want to shake them. I just want to say, you don't have to say it that way. Just say, I used to be a blank when I was a kid, or whatever. Or I used to be a blank for 50 years and now I'm out of it. But they still say, a lot of them, I used to be one of blankety blank blank for 50 years. It stays with you. I got out when I was 16. So, I've had time to deprogram, but it's a forever process. The grief that I still feel is really unbearable sometimes. I recently discovered a Bach flower remedy. It's Star of Bethlehem. Sort of ironic that it has a biblical name. But I think it's really helping. My energy field is very fragile. And I do better when I use the less is more approach. And what are we but energy? We're energy inside and out. Our auras are large. They extend a few feet out from us. And when I was a baby, I used to see everybody's aura. And of course I was, told that I was imagining things. But I think from the time I was born, maybe, to being 4 or 5 years old, probably when I started kindergarten, almost everyone I looked at had a color around them, like a big fuzzy ball of cotton dipped in food dye. That's what it looked like. So we can find our own healing through even the worst childhoods. Seriously, we can. It takes effort. It takes processing. You gotta talk about it. I'm still talking about it. I will probably forever talk about it. Unfortunately, these things, there's only 9 million on the planet in this cult only. And, I think when I was a kid, there was close to like 6.7 million or something like that. So that's worldwide out of now 8 billion. So that's not a whole lot of people to understand. And then you have to find the ones, now it's easier. The internet, oh my goodness. The internet connects people. Maybe that's not such a healthy thing either sometimes. I don't know. But when I got out of it and moved across country, there was nowhere I could turn. I was 18 years old. There was no internet to look up, XJWs. So I was alone. And I couldn't afford therapy. And back then, it was not something everybody did. 18 years old. So anyway, I've kind of gone on a little longer than I wanted to on this one. But I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful sleep, a wonderful life, and I look forward to seeing you again. I love you.